Camp for Climate Action 2009 recently took place in the United Kingdom. This brought together more than 100 protesters protesting Alberta oil sands development. Clayton Thomas-Muller with the Indigenous Environmental Network joined us earlier. Now, Mr. Thomas-Muller, can you explain to me, you took part in this London camp for climate action. What exactly did you set out to do?
Well, I work for the Indigenous Environmental Network, an environmental justice organization that is native-run and that supports Indigenous communities across Turtle Island that are fighting to protect the sacredness of Mother Earth from toxic contamination and corporate exploitation.
And what did you hope?
My responsibilities with the organization is that I run the Tar Sands campaign, and I support communities in Alberta and across the continent that are fighting against the world's largest and most destructive development. And so our campaign teamed up with the organizers of the London Climate Camp for Action 2009 to bring a delegation of First Nations community members from the community of Fort Chipewyan, which is home to the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation, as well as the Mikisew Cree First Nation, to share stories of their struggle with big oil in the province of Alberta, and to talk about the grave ecological and human health crisis that is emerging as a result of living downstream from the world's largest and most destructive development that many people have heard of, known as Canada's tar sands.
Right. So basically what you were setting out to do was to gather stories and share them with the public at large, make people aware of what's going on.
Well, we had a few objectives. One was to internationalize the struggle of the community of Fort Chipewyan, to build solidarity with a huge climate justice movement that's emerging in the United Kingdom, and to, kind of launch a campaign that's, based in the United Kingdom against profiteers, in other words, London-based corporations like BP and financial institutions that are invested in Canada's tar sands, and to link that campaign to the front line of resistance, which is, of course, in First Nations and Métis communities in northern Alberta.
In your trip now, do you believe that that was something that you accomplished?
Definitely. I think that, throughout the week of Climate Camp, we organized workshops and we spoke in plenaries. We also screened the movie H2 Oil, which is a movie highlighting the impacts of tar sands on water and on First Nations rights. And the response that we had was tremendous, and it all culminated with a massive tar sands tour of the historic Trafalgar Square in London, in central London, which is home to the National Portrait Art Gallery, as well as the Canadian High Commission, which is the UK equivalent of the Canadian Embassy. And just around the corner from the square is the headquarters of British Petroleum, now known as BP. So we had hundreds of UK citizens join a march led by First Nations from Canada, from the area affected by tar sands, to highlight BP and their role in, the largest and most destructive development on the planet. Something that is driving the global climate crisis, and also the primary reason why the country of Canada will not meet its Kyoto commitments, let alone commit to any kind of progressive climate targets coming out of Copenhagen.
Okay, very good, sir. You know what, I was looking here at the footage, and I see it looks like there was a lot of music going on there, and there were people dressed all in black. What was that about?
Well, I think that it's important to have multiple platforms to relay the very solemn message of the violation of human rights and of environmental racism that's playing out in northern Alberta. So we had different art installations, living art installations, if you will. We had a couple gentlemen dress up as tar sands monsters, and they were kind of slithering around, some of the banners and whatnot. And we had different musicians perform songs to highlight, the resistance, the struggle that's taking place in northern Canada, led by First Nations. All of this, of course, designed to create a image, to provide a platform within the international media for the community of Fort Chipewyan to express their concern and dismay with the province of Alberta, with the federal government of Canada, and of course with big oil encroaching on their traditional territory.
Okay, very good, sir. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.